Great. Welcome everyone to the Town of Greater Napanee Committee of Adjustment for the 8th day of October 2024. Just before we get going, I just want to remind everyone that this evening's meeting will be put onto is live streamed to put onto our YouTube channel. So folks that don't have the ability to be here tonight, or if they're at home, they can watch from home, or if they're working, they can watch anytime in the future. So just having said that, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll look for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Martin, second by Deputy Mayor Calver. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. We'll look for a motion for the adoption of the minutes for the Committee of Adjustment for the 24th day of September 2024. Moved by Councillor Hick, seconded by Councillor or Deputy Mayor Calver. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Land severance application. Land severance application PLCOR 2024-045 R. Cruji 253 Bridge Street West. Legal description plan 82 lot 51 north of Bridge. And before we get started, is there anyone here to speak for or against this application? Seeing none. Thanks, Michael. I see you're at the front desk here, so whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Worship. Excuse me. This application to create a new infill residential lot in the urban area with frontage on York Street. Staff are recommending to defer this evening. We're just looking for a little bit more time to investigate potential building envelope and associated setbacks with the proponent. One item that we're looking at in greater detail is a provision in the zoning bylaw called the established building line. So our zoning bylaw requires certain setbacks for front yards, side yards, rear yards. However, for infill lots and areas within a block that are not fully developed, in this case, this would be falling into that category, there are variances allowed through the bylaw to allow for deviations from those setback requirements. So if we're not, if taking it out on the face of it, you know, there's a required 6 meter front yard and a required 7.5 meter rear yard, it really makes for a very shallow house. But we need a little bit more time to investigate that established building line, which might allow it to come up a little bit to increase the depth of any future house on that lot. The frontage and the area are compliant with the bylaw. It's just we're hopeful to see a little bit more ability to establish a more suitable interior layout for a future house there, and we want to be sure that the applicant's fully aware of anything before we bring it back for a final recommendation for the committee. But if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Councillor Hicks.
Through you. Thank you. Michael, is the applicant aware that this is being deferred?
Through your worship, yes, the applicant is aware.
Great. Is there any other questions for Michael? And I know we do have a recommendation to defer this. Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that a decision regarding the application PLCOR 2024-045 seeking approval for the creation of a new residential parcel with 20 meters of frontage and 370 square meters area be deferred to a future meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next matter is minor variance application PLVAR 2024-038 K. Murray and I. von Lichtenberg, immediately east of 1754 County Road 12, South Side, legal description, concession 7, part lot 4, part lot 5, former geographic township of Richmond. And again, before we get started, is there anyone here to speak for or against this application? Seeing none, Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Worship. So items 6.1 and 6.2 are effectively seeking the same variance, but they're associated with two separate parcels. This variance was included as a condition to a previous consent approval rendered by the committee last year. So what had spurred on the requirement for this variance was the Conservation Authority had flagged both wetland and karst topography on the parcels to be created and the parcel to be retained. So a wetland evaluation was completed by a qualified professional along with a karst evaluation. It was determined through that on-site investigative work and through consultation with the Conservation Authority, that there are building envelopes, septic envelopes, and well envelopes that exist on these parcels. However, they place those building envelopes within 15 meters of the edge of the wetland on this property. So they're away from the karst features, and the Conservation Authority is satisfied with that component. However, our zoning bylaw requires, as of right, a 30-meter setback. The wetland evaluation that was completed was reviewed by the Conservation Authority, and they are in concurrence with, was recommending a 15-meter setback, so a reduction of 15 meters from the 30-meter requirement to the wetland boundary. So in accordance with that consent condition that was put on, these are the variances under 6.1 and 6.2 to address that condition. And again, the former wetland evaluation that was completed at the consent stage, the Conservation Authority was in concurrence with that. So this is effectively crossing off that condition that was imposed, and so the staff recommendation is for approval of the application as presented.
Great, thanks, Michael. Is there any questions or comments for Michael with respect to this application? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that committee receive for information the technical report regarding minor variance application PLVAR 2024-038, and further that the application requesting a variance from section 4.11.bi of the Town of Greater Napanee zoning bylaw 0222 to reduce the minimum required setback from wetland boundary from 30 meters to 15 meters be approved, subject to the conditions that are contained within our report. Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Norrie. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And I know, Michael, that 6.2 is sort of the sister application to 6.1. Is there anything further you would like to add with respect to that application?
Through your worship, nothing further to add. This application is the more easterly of the two proposed severed residential size parcels, just so for the committee's awareness.
Great, thanks, Michael. Is there any questions of Michael with respect to this application? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation that the committee receive for information the technical report regarding minor variance application PLVAR 2024-039, and further that the application requesting a variance from section 4.11.b sub I of the Town of Greater Napanee zoning bylaw 0222 be to reduce the minimum required setback from wetland boundary from 30 meters to 15 meters be approved, subject to conditions that are contained within our agenda. Moved by Councillor Hicks, seconded by Councillor Pennell. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next matter, minor variance application PLVAR 2024-041, E. Jakobsen and C. Kent, 233 Bridge Street West, legal description, plan 82, lot 47 and 48, NS Bridge, former Town of Greater Napanee. And I know that we do have, I think, both the applicants here this evening. Is there anyone to speak against this evening? Seeing none. And folks, if you want to speak, we'll get you to come up, or if you don't want to speak tonight, I know there's a recommendation to defer this, so we'll give you the opportunity, but I'll check and see if there's anything you want to say prior to for us to deal with this matter. So if, go ahead, Michael.
Thank you, Worship. This application is seeking approval to allow for the installation of a pool in both the exterior side yard and the front yard of a corner lot on Bridge Street at Simcoe Street in the northwest corner. And through the technical circulation of the application, our utilities department has identified that the sanitary and potable water service laterals are running diagonally through exactly where the pool is proposed to be located. So staff would just like a little bit more time to go back to the applicant and hopefully devise a bit of a plan to shift the location of the pool so as not to negatively impact their servicing for water and sanitary services. We also have some concern with the pool being located so far into the front yard and so close to the north-south road abutting on the east side. We were hopeful that we can hopefully see that pool relocated a little further away from Bridge Street and further away from, I believe it's Simcoe Street on the east side. So just looking for a little bit more time before we make an ultimate recommendation for a decision tonight.
Great, thanks, Michael. And folks, you've heard that Mr. Nobes is looking for us to defer this so he can deal with, have some conversations with you. So I'm sure that after this evening, he'll probably reach out to you in the not too distant future. So was there anything that you wish to add to this, or did you want to wait till you had some conversation with Mr. Nobes? Great, thanks. We do have a recommendation, or sorry, Council, do you have any questions or comments for Michael with respect to his presentation this evening? Yep, seeing none, we do have a recommendation that a decision regarding application PLVAR 2024-041 seeking variances to allow the installation of an in-ground pool in the front and exterior side yards be deferred to a future meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Norrie. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. We'll look for a motion to adjourn the Committee of Adjustment. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thanks, folks, and we'll see you at 7 o'clock for a regular session of council.